Hello and welcome to the Juggling Podcast. My name is Luke Burge, and this is the show where we chat about juggling topics. Joining me like normal is Juliane.
Hello, everyone.
And I just want to say thank you to all our Patreon supporters. You are the reason why we keep doing this and keep working on new projects. So I'm just going to go straight into it. Thank you very much to Marshall and Sid and Chris and Flo and Matt and Joel and Hendrik. Thank you very much to Bethany. Thanks to Juliane Kunstendorf. You're still supporting me here on Patreon.
Yes.
Thank you very much. To Status, to Kathy, to Michael, to Yuli, to Keith, Mark, Jeremy, the mysterious Mark, who is a different Mark, David, Sam, who is, I think, a new supporter, and or a more recent one, and then lots of people like Tom and Pierre and Rogelio and Zach and Jonah and other people who support at $1 or €1 or £1 or $1 Australian dollar. Lots of people support at one thing per month. So thank you all to you people. Thank you everyone who just follows along on Patreon.
Yes,
I've been working on various juggling projects at the moment.
Okay.
Let's fill you up. On the last podcast, we were talking about the top 40 jugglers of last year. We had a discussion about that and what our future plans for that were.
Yes.
And one of the things that I said is that I want to do some re-edits of early results videos.
Yep.
And I did that for the year 2008, which was the first year that every juggler on the chart had at least one video that I could get for them. And I looked back on the hard drives and I still had all of the videos saved from when I first made the video in 2008. Or I guess it would have been early 2009. Either way.
So this has been originally a video.
It was the first countdown that I did as a YouTube video, because in 2007 YouTube came along. In 2008 people were posting there and on juggling.tv and other places.
Yes.
And then by then I worked out a way that I could download the videos and could actually make a results video.
That's cool.
And so I just downloaded available videos and then did like a voiceover. Before then we'd always done, me and Paula had done some podcasts, and before that it was written. So this was the first video year.
It became a visual project at that point.
It became a visual project at that point. So, but the video is, and also at the time there was a 10-minute limit on the videos.
Oh, on the duration of the upload.
So I released it as two different videos where I did like voiceover and talking about stuff. And anyway, listen back to it. It's just me waffling about stuff because I was doing it like a podcast, but with video. Yeah. But then it wasn't long enough to be a normal podcast where you'd actually get into it and do the proper rundown and really discuss different things.
Yes.
And then it wasn't tight. It wasn't a tight enough edit to be a good video, and it wasn't extended enough to be a good podcast episode. And it was just me waffling. So I just found some fun music to put it to and just did a quick edit. So it's a 5-minute edit of better quality videos in some cases, better edited. And everyone's videos back then is like, they're all brown. I know it's a weird thing to say, but like just color wasn't very good in videos.
Yep.
And
it was early on.
So I got some better videos, better quality videos of some of the people from about the same time, some historical stuff. Yeah, and also it's fun that back then, people who weren't just internet jugglers or, convention jugglers could get on the chart. Yeah. So still on the chart, still people's favorite juggler from that, first 5 years of doing the top 40 jugglers were people like Enrico Restelli and Francis Brunn and Sergei Ignatov, although he had performed at EJC and Chris Kramer had performed at an EJC recently. So, some of them
Restelli certainly hasn't.
Yeah, Restelli and Francis Brunn hadn't. But so then there's quite a few people who made it onto the list.
That's really interesting how it changes.
Yeah, but weirdly, those guys are still with us. Chris Kramer is still performing like he was performing in Berlin last year, and he's still performing here and there. I don't know if Sergei Ignatov is still performing. I'm dropping some stuff in for later in the episode.
Okay.
But then other people who are on that list aren't with us. Ben Beaver, Sean McKinney, Luke Wilson. Yeah. Not around anymore.
Well, but at the time when people were voting.
No, I think Sean McKinney had died a few years before.
Oh, okay.
Already. So he had already died in, I think, 2004. It would have been 2004.
All right.
But still making appearances on the chart. Either way. There they are.
Yeah,
let me put it that way.
It feels very much like that's now become very much a historical archive kind of project.
Yeah.
Because you go back, first of all, you introduce people who have not been around in 2008.
Yeah.
you introduced them to
Yeah.
what people voted for, how the videos
And
looked like, and what juggling was.
Yeah, it's quite weird actually.
going
Look
on.
through some of them, and some people are like really good jugglers, and other people are doing like these weird tricks, and and some people it's sort of like, oh right, there was like people doing contact juggling, and sort of like you just don't get contact jugglers on anymore.
That's a pity.
Well, I guess
Contact jugglers.
No,
come
actually,
on,
now I say that,
vote.
some people who do a bit of ball balancing and contact juggling would be on there, but like Liam Wilson, he does contact-ish and ball balancing and rolling stuff around. So I guess some people could make it on there, but yeah, I wouldn't say it was more diverse than it was this year, and also only 2 women, and they were I think it was like number 39 and 38 were women jugglers, and from then on it's just all massive sausage fest all the way through to the end. Anyway, hope people enjoyed that little edit that I put up there for other people.
I certainly enjoyed it.
Aside from videos that I'm working on, if you're following me on Instagram, you might see some new props that I've made, which are my triangles, 2 different size triangle props.
Which I found really fun and interesting that you work on those.
Yeah, I'm having fun working there. I don't really have much to say about it. It's just that people who, again, follow along with the story of what I'm working on, I'm saying, I'm wanting to work on some new like juggling show or juggling act for this year. And I was trying to find something that, like I'm passionate about or interested about, and trying to come up with a new prop design, even though it is just triangles. Other people have juggled triangles. Bora has juggled triangles, and was it Petros or whatever his name is? Anyway, there was 20 years ago, there was people doing some big triangle juggling, and I wanted to find a way to have like different size triangles. So having a 3D printed modular system where they can also interlock together. I'm experimenting with technique. I'm experimenting with tricks. I'm experimenting with choreography. Having some fun with that. So that's another project that I'm working on for this year.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this one.
You're excited?
Yeah, because it's visually, it's very nice.
The Instagram algorithm, not excited at all.
Yeah.
It's all like you put up the video and sort of like, 1,000 views. And I was like, hey, normally I'm getting like 10,000 or 15,000. So I'm not worried about that because I'm not doing it for the algorithm.
Yeah.
I specifically said in the previous or some previous episodes. I think it was the Flash 30 debrief that I'm not doing this now. Like I'm setting aside working on these things as specifically as a social media project.
You're not a social media influencer.
Well, and also I'm not going to be like, 100 tricks in 100 days or, trick a day May or whatever. I might do a trick a day May this year, but I'm just saying it'll be just a way for me to share research that I'm doing anyway.
Yeah.
All right, then let's get on to today's topic.
Okay, what's that going to be?
The topic is, I'm not quite sure what the actual title of the podcast will be. Of course, people can now just look at their podcast player.
And you will know.
Which is getting old and still juggling. or like, I'm a professional juggler and I'm getting older. And I realized, and this is just one weird way to see it, like you see Chris Cremo still performing now. He's like 75 years old or something like that. And he's still doing 3 balls and, performing alongside his son. And they do like the side-by-side hat juggling side-by-side, like he did with his father as well.
Amazing.
Which is really good fun to see. But I'm not from a circus family that goes back 4 generations. I don't have a son to pass my skills on to who can still stand next to me on stage and perform. So I'm like, well, what am I doing here? And I've addressed this before, kind of.
Yeah.
In terms of my show, like my show that I put together, 23, which was I performed in 2003, and then kind of made sure that this was like the solid section of my second show, the middle part of my second show.
Yeah, it transitioned into your professional life.
It was always the point.
Yeah,
of this.
yeah.
So I have this thing where my first show is all about my first steps as a juggler, and I'm telling stories about how I learned to juggle when I was 13 years old. And my second show is the I'm a middle-aged juggler now, and like facing the fact that as I'm performing on stage, I'm getting older, and will I still be able to do stuff on stage? And over the last 3 or 4 years, I've been working on this routine or working on this storytelling section. I've come up with different framing devices for this.
Yeah.
When I was doing the Chris Cremo's cigar box, the style of his pirouette stuff, I would even say that, the reason he can keep performing until he's like 72, 75 years old is because he reduces it down to 10 props. reduces it down to 3 props.
Yeah, well,
I was
10.
going to say, as opposed to Francis Brunn,
Yeah.
who at the start of his career would do like a 9-object version of the Francis Brunn finish.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of his career, he would do like a 9-object. But at the middle of his career, he was doing 12 objects.
Yeah.
And I say, well, I'm going to do 10-object version of Francis Brunn. Is that okay? And we were like, yeah, okay, good. You know, the audience goes with me.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Then when I do the Gatto finale.
Yeah.
Oh no, let's say it this way. Then when I was doing the Sergei Ignatov thing, where I'm doing 5 club back crosses on stage, I tell the story about when I saw him perform and he was 56 years old. He didn't do 28 catches of 5 club back crosses. He did 1 back cross.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I need I know I can match that, but like, what age range now of Sergei Ignatov can I still match? If you know what I mean. Mm-hmm. And so the idea being that the way that it's developing is that by the time I'm 56, I still want to be able to do 5 catches or whatever it is going to be. And then with Anthony Gatto, learning Anthony Gatto's signature trick with the ball on the pole with the rings that go up and then the big ring on top. The like one of the punchlines of that is that I learned that trick when I was older than Anthony Gatto was when he had already retired from being a professional juggler. He retired when he was 39 years old, and there's me now, like 45 years old, learning it and performing it on stage, and I have different ways of selling that. So that's kind of like the framing of what it is. Like, I'm already doing the, oh shit, I'm a middle-aged juggler, and I'm like facing my mortality or whatever. Not more mortality.
It's more like, what's the future? What's the direction you're gonna go?
Yeah, what is the direction? And I know this is like such a weird thing to do, but like, I'm a professional juggler, but also I'm an amateur juggler in terms of I'm a hobby juggler. Like, I am not a juggler who is like, well, I'm going to work on a show and I'm going to have this act and I'm going to do that. Like, so many jugglers have like a 6-minute act and they work on it and they keep working on it and they keep working on it. And over time, they get to the point where maybe they can't perform anymore and then they retire or they get a family and they don't want to travel as much anymore and they become, a physiotherapist or a computer programmer or whatever the things that jugglers do, you know, as a side career. Well, I wouldn't say as a side career, but like just as a, like, I'm not going to be able to keep juggling forever.
Yeah, it's
so
very
I've got to
physical.
do something. Yeah, it's very physical. But I don't have that. But also, a lot of the jugglers who have my job, which are comedy jugglers, they don't do the same. Again, this is not a judgment call. It's just that I decide that in my show, I'm doing difficult juggling. Mm-hmm. And a lot of comedy jugglers who, again, I'm often billed as a comedy juggler, even though I don't consider myself a comedy juggler in this way. But they tell jokes and juggle 3 props and whatever. You know.
It's entertainment.
They're entertaining, so they can entertain, they can be funny with, some audience participation, some lower level skills, lower number of props, and they're not out there literally doing tricks by Anthony Gatto and Francis Brunn and Sergei Ignatov and their own tricks and their own routines and doing 7 rings and 6 clubs, I mean, some people do, like, actually, I was just about to name some people, but I know they're younger than me, so it kind of like
you can't really compare that.
So no, but the point is, on top of my show, I'm also working on other things like numbers juggling and trying to progress and do things which I've not done before, numbers juggling wise.
Yes.
And last year that worked out, I think mostly because I set my goal like really easy, that in some ways, with like 10 rings, obviously within my capability, and 8 clubs, obviously within my capability.
Yeah.
And 12 balls have done before, but then it's just, I reckon if I hadn't got injured, I would have done it by the end of the year. So that's
so hard on the body, though.
But yeah, again, I'm putting the 12 balls is another goal for this year.
It's still going to come. It's still going to happen.
Yes. So, what was I saying? Yes. So I'm already like thinking about this kind of stuff, but now I'm wanting to actually like think about it long term, rather than, hey, this is fun material for my show that I can talk about, like anxieties of being a middle-aged juggler. Those anxieties have passed. Like, I don't have any anxieties of being a middle-aged juggler, meaning like my skills are still there and I'm using it in my show, and I'm happy to keep pushing the technical difficulty and strength and fitness and other things that I need to do these things in my show. Yeah. No problem at all. Although, well, actually, I'll talk about that in a minute. what I want to do is now in this podcast talk about like again, I'm not going to make any real long-term decisions here.
Yeah.
But if I was to make some long-term decisions about growing old as a juggler, as a hobby juggler, of what I want to do, you know, in an amateur way, in like a whatever kind of way.
Yeah.
Or what am I doing as a professional juggler?
Yeah.
And like what are the things which I would need to consider to like plan out the next 20 years of me being a professional and amateur juggler or hobby juggler, let's say. So should we go through some of them?
Yeah, let's do it. I want to hear it.
Okay.
I mean, as always, like we do need to put the disclaimer: long-term plans.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and this is the way that I talked about. Well, I've talked about this before. Long-term. I brought up the list because I was like, have we talked about this before? And I went through. We talked about some bits and pieces. We talked about different physical stuff and disabilities and juggling, all this other kind of thing. But what we haven't really laid out, like my thinking about this topic of kind of this year and last year and when I'm like going up against these things. But for example, what is the time horizon? Of course, long-term projects always say don't think about anything more than 18 months because your life will change after 18 months. But then let me talk about it this way. If I know that a long-term project could be an 18-month project, let's say maximum or like on average, let's say average of 18 months, because some of them will be a year-long project, like a Flash 30. Others will be 2-year projects, like working on a whole new show. Sometimes 18 months for a new act or routine or a big trip.
Sometimes
that you
just
want to
6
get.
months.
Yeah, sometimes 6 months. But if we just say an average of a year and a half for a big juggling project, which could be numbers juggling, a new trick, a new act, a new show, and just a new prop that you want to get good at, all that kind of stuff. If I reckon I've got 20 more years worth of juggling in me, again, I'm just throwing it out there. Let's say 20 years. That is only 12 to 13 more projects that I have in me. Like 1 to 2 year projects. On the high end, it'll be 15. On the low end, it'll be 10. Of long-term projects. So now, thinking about it this way, when I'm like, I want to get into a new prop, I'm going to do stuff with some triangles. And I'm going to work on this triangle stuff for 6 months until I really know if I want to do it. And then after that, another 6 months to really come up with, like, get good with the technique. And then another 6 months performing it, maybe at juggling conventions and putting it in my cruise ship show. Putting an act, like properly having an act, writing the music, working costumes, working characters. Maybe I wanted it to be a 2-person act because I was telling you before about that. Like I was wanting to do a duo show or a trio show or like working with other people, bringing in a director, an outside eye.
Show with 3 people actually makes a lot of sense.
That's why I'm saying that's why I'm saying 3
Yeah.
people. It could be really good.
Yeah.
So coming up with these different things. All right, that's an 18-month project of a new thing that I want to perform, which is 18 months that I'm not working on other new juggling and that is going to be taking away effort and energy from, numbers juggling that I want to do or whatever. And I'm like, okay, well, maybe I should hold on to this thought and work on something which takes more physical energy now while I'm younger, and then be like, well, I can invent a new prop later on, and maybe if I can make it successful, other people can take it on after I don't want to do it. If I work with somebody else, and then I can give them the props, and they can, if it's interesting enough, they can keep going on with it, and they can take the props and the music and the ideas, and they can go in a different direction. I'm not saying that like my ideas are like worth anybody else doing. I'm just saying that that's the kind of thing that I could be thinking about in the future. So think about that. On the outside, 15 projects until I reckon I won't have the fitness and energy and everything to work on juggling at the level that I can do it now. And I think that's on a optimistic note to think that when I'm 65 years old, I'm still going to be good enough at juggling to be relevant to my own interests at all.
Yes, I understand that. But it still feels very interesting to me to think about it this way. I don't think I've ever talked to anybody or heard anybody laying it out in this way. Like, I know people have like make these 5-year plans and such, but planning literally out how much time for projects they have until they retire, I've not heard. I find it quite interesting.
Well, I'm not saying I am going to plan it out. I'm saying if I were to plan it out.
Yeah. But it's interesting to just put it down into numbers like that.
Yeah.
Quite like, so, yeah.
All right, then.
Yeah.
The next thing to do is to think, like, each thing in my current show, at what point in any of the current shows do I think that I'm going to be too old to be able to do them? And
the first thing that comes to my mind is the roller bowler.
The roller bowler?
Yeah.
You think that is something that I could do longer or that I would need to stop doing? Which way round are you saying?
It feels like it's very much of a younger person's
Right. This is what I'm saying. It's not just about what I can physically do, because there's, like, again, let's come back to Chris Cremo. He has a 3-ball routine. I have a 3-ball routine. My classic 3-ball routine, which isn't as old as his 3-ball routine, because that goes back, like, again, 3 generations or whatever.
Yeah.
But I know that I could, still be performing a version of my 3-ball and video routine in 20 years' time. No problem.
Yeah.
I think Diabolo... less so, because I think Diabolo looks too much like a toy.
Yeah.
And I already think I'm kind of a bit too old to be doing this. And I kind of flag that up in my show when I talk about, like, Yeah,
but you're showing something that you've done in the past.
Yes,
so
I'm introducing it as something that it was like my first love. Like I did Diabolo before. I could do Diabolo before I could juggle 3 balls.
Yes.
So talking about that, then I think the 5-ball, an audience volunteer routine that I do, I think I can keep doing that, because as I'm growing older with that routine, my status with the audience is actually changing.
Yes.
And I'm finding new ways of doing comedy with it.
Yes.
At the start, it was like I could, if I'm performing this as a 23 years old or 24 years old, whenever I started doing it, I could get up anyone of any age and I would be, but I would only do it with women volunteers, because then it's sort of like risque for them to put the ball between my legs and this silly comedy stuff.
Yes.
But as I go, as I get older, it gets then a bit weird if I get anyone who's younger than me up on stage. And so I always had to find other people older than me to bring up on stage. And now I can't just pick people randomly from an audience on a cruise ship and expect them to be older than me, because I'm now, middle-aged or whatever. Yeah. And so, bringing men up on stage to do that routine gives it
fine. a different dynamic.
If they're 22 and a male and I'm 45 and a male, the dynamic can still work really well.
Yes.
And I can, like, boss them around a lot. But a 22-year-old woman, I couldn't do that with.
Yeah.
And an older woman, then it's, like, a bit weird and a bit, So, yes, I've had to kind of tone these different things together. So I reckon I still got another 20 years of that routine.
Yeah.
But again, it would have to change.
It changes.
Change it a bit.
Yeah.
Ring juggling routine, could still keep doing that, I reckon.
That's very,
and then the knife juggling. So
classic.
I think my first show is really good. But that's always been the thing with my first show. That's my banking. That's the stuff I can bank on and just don't worry about it. My second show, though, is always a bit tricky.
That's the playground.
Yeah, because that's when I pull out the big tricks. How long can I keep doing the 5 club back crosses? I'm always joking that as soon as I don't do the 7 catches of 5 club back crosses for the first time, that's it. I'm not going to do it again. And at the moment, I'm doing it as a joke, because I know I can get 7 catches of 5 club back crosses. But now I've got to the point where I've stopped dropping on purpose with that.
All right.
So
it's serious.
So now it's serious. Because if I drop on purpose and then I don't get it the second time, and then, you get distracted and you don't do it the third time, and then you're on the 4th time, the bit of music's long enough and I have enough bits to cover it up. But now I'm like, no, I want to get the Brun finish on the first try, the 5 club back crosses for 7 catches on the first try, and Anthony Gatto's balance trick all on the first try. If I can nail them all on the first try, that then becomes me yes, I'm winning at juggling. And I say this doesn't happen very often, although I say it doesn't happen very often.
So the
even
focus
when I can
already
do it.
has shifted since 2023.
Yeah, when I started performing these things together as the 4 finales, or now the 3 finales, or the big 3 as I call it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's already changing.
Yeah, because you already dropped the cigar boxes.
Well, I pretty much only ever wanted to do that at the British Juggling Convention.
Yeah, I understand that, but still, it's not like a prop that you then decided to learn well enough to...
What, the cigar boxes?
Yeah.
It was never the plan.
Yeah, to integrate it. Maybe if you've been younger, you could have learned it.
But the cigar boxes are just massive. They're just
but
too
also
big
to
travel around. To travel around.
Yeah, no, I get it. Anyway, so the focus on how you're performing those 3 tricks already has shifted to... I just want to do them. No messing around.
Yeah, Zanzibar is fine. That's a video routine.
Yep.
Just play some music
That
and
can
sing a
work.
bit as well. But yeah, it's really these, in the end, I think the things that I got to work on is the Diablo routine to make sure that it doesn't look too much like I'm just playing around with plastic toys. And that's the thing that, always feels a bit too much like, I'm just playing with a plastic toy as the opening of my show. But it's still a good routine.
And it's a good warm-up.
Yeah.
It's a good warm-up for you and the
Good warm-up
audience
for
because
me.
it's funny,
Yeah.
but also, you can just basically mostly do it.
Yeah, I can do whatever I want.
Unless your ears get in the way.
And then each new thing that I'm putting in my show, everything that's in my show now, I can definitely do it for 10 years.
Yeah.
But in 10 years' time, when I'm thinking of new things to put in my show, I don't think it can be based on me being able to do like 6 club juggling or 5 club back crosses or 7 rings or whatever the new thing that I want to be putting in the show. Like I still want to do the Brun finale on a roller bowler. And I'm like, I'm just not going to have time to do that. Like, again, and the other one where I do the double ball stack with the 6 rings on the roller bowler with the double ball stack mouth thing that I have.
Yeah.
It's like a dream finale trick for me, but it's so hard.
It is.
It's so hard that if I don't start performing it soon, it's not going to be a regular part of my show. It's just going to be the dream finale trick that I just didn't ever spend enough time on because it's too similar to the Brun finale and it's too similar to the Gatto thing. It's more ring juggling with some ball spinning kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's too similar.
That's actually quite an interesting question because in life you will come up at multiple times in your life. You will come up with you come up to kind of like looking back, thinking like, I always wanted to do XXX.
Yeah.
And then at some point you have to make a decision or look at it. Is it worth still investing my time, effort, money, energy, everything into that? Is it that important to me? Or is it more at the point to say, okay, I wanted to do that at some point. I kind of still want to do it, but it doesn't work out.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think it's fair enough to then say, okay, I am sad about that. I grieve that because it meant a lot or it would mean a lot. But at some point, you then have to say, I only have one life and that didn't fit in.
Yeah.
That's the kind of question that comes up too.
Yeah, and that's the whole point I'm talking about here as well. So maybe I just need to decide, hey, I'm just going to offer to perform at a few conventions and get that trick ready and perform it. Or maybe do an open stage or something like that.
The lower threshold things.
And just be happy to do it. And so it's not part of my professional show, but I like still can be like, oh yeah, I performed that and I was really happy to perform the 6 rings with the double ball stack spinning on the face with the roller bowler.
Yeah.
Which I can still do. Like I can do it. It's just it doesn't fit my show.
Yes.
Even though at every gig that I do, I have all of those props ready to go.
That's true.
Because I always have the roller bowler, I always have the 6 rings, I always have the
mouth pedestal,
the mouth
and
pedestal
all the
with the balls and the
balls.
other stuff. Yeah. So something to think about there. So yeah, anyway, that's one side of it. And then also, do I ever start from scratch with another hour-long show? Lots of jugglers do this all the time. Mm-hmm. I say lots of jugglers. Many jugglers will work on a whole new show from scratch.
Okay.
And they'll take time off and they will do a residency and then another residency and they'll get a director and another choreographer and they work on this whole new project.
Yeah.
And then they tour it around theatre festivals or circus festivals or whatever theatres, which is all good. But I've never really done that. Like I've never leaned into that. I do a popular juggling for like a popular audience and I'm very happy with that. I don't think there's any wrong with that. It's just that like I've never gone through I'm going to work on a full theatre show and then do a theatre tour in black box theatres or in circus festivals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So maybe one day I would want to do that. But if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to do it soon.
Yeah.
Because so then I'm gonna get like too old, and I'm already aged out by 20 years, too old for like youth circuses and these other things.
Yeah, and lots of these residency or grants or whatever.
Yeah.
They're not for people like you.
Yeah, because they're there for like new people or like people working on new projects.
It's always a starting
it's like a
point.
starting thing, and I'm just not at the start of anything here as well. So there's another thing that I can think about too as well.
Yes.
Maybe I want to do that. I'm not sure I do because it doesn't really appeal to me in that way.
Yeah. I think the big advantage of the way that your shows are set up is that you're basically doing mini variety shows because you do have the music, the comedy, the juggling, and the physical comedy and all this kind of stuff. And it feels to me like in the same way that I always think of my career of having 3 columns of like an employed job in public administration, and then a singer and a singing teacher. So these are my 3 pillars, right?
Yeah.
So, and if I look at your show, it kind of feels similar. You have the classic juggling with the rings. Yeah. You have the cool,
the clever juggling,
like beat train.
Yeah. You 3-ball and video. And then have the comedy.
And then you have the comedy that you do, and it's so great. I love this in your shows because you're really good at it. And then you have the music and video stuff. Yeah. And so I think because of that variety, wherever you need to dial something down, you can dial something up.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
that's
and
true.
I think that is the really strong.
Yeah, so maybe that's what I need to do. Maybe I need to go, right, my next show, I want to do a full video show or like work on lots of video stuff. I was actually really inspired by a magician that I saw, Ruben, from Spain. Yeah. And he did a full show, and I was like, oh, he only performs on these big theaters now, which have like full LED screens behind him. He only works on the Holland America line. They've all of the theaters have got these fantastic video screens, and he worked on 2 full shows with full video, and then he's got all his video controllers on stage with him. He's all running from a laptop backstage, and he's the one queuing up different things with the different remote controls.
So it doesn't even need a technician for that.
No, and he's running all the music and all the video and stuff, and you follow him on Instagram, and he's like wiring in this and doing that and working on tech, and it's very inspiring. Yeah. And I've not seen anyone else work on a show to that level that they can run by themselves. Of course, I know the Jonglissimo people do it. You know, they have full video shows. And
but they travel with a technician that they...
Yeah, but it's not just one person. It's like a team with a full time. So that was really inspiring. I was like, that's maybe what I need to lean into a bit more. If I can make my put it this way, 23 years ago, when I first did my 3-ball and video routine, what was interesting about it and unique about it was that there was video involved. Yes. And I could have a TV on stage or a projector on stage. And as it goes along, I've always put, I do multimedia stuff in my show. Now, everybody does multimedia now. Like there aren't anyone there's nobody who doesn't have a video section or some, projection or rear screen, something in their show. So it's not even a selling point for me now with my video pieces. Yeah.
And also another idea that you talked about in the past before, that you, you said it before, the singing of Take Me to Zanzibar, the song, is something you can also do as a 65-year-old. Yeah. And so implementing more talking or singing can also work.
Yeah, there's ways to do it. Again, I think of it as sort of like times where I don't have to be the one juggling live on stage. Yes. So there's something there as well. All right, let's move on from that. Mm-hmm. Again, this is just considerations that I've got, I'm not planning anything out. I'm not announcing my retirement. I'm not saying what I'm going to do. I'm just saying that, like, physically, I've got to be on top of things. But also, like, vibes, character. Like, what's my stage character going to be? Is it just going to be me?
And that has already changed as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, over the almost 20 years now. This time next year will be, like, 20 years of me performing on cruise ships. Mm-hmm. And so, and now it's been 20 years since me and Paula put together, like, the art of juggling routine and all this other kind of stuff, which kind of, like, was that step up into being, like, professional and performing in professional venues as a juggler. So 20 years of this, things have changed. And if I'm thinking, and there's going to be another 20 years, that's lots to think about there. So let's move on to the next thing, which is, like, physically, what am I going to be like in 20 years time? But let's rewind a bit. When I quit my last real job, which was in 2003, so 23 years ago now.
Yes.
I quit that job and I signed up for a 2-month circus acrobatics course.
Yeah.
And I was doing circus acrobatics, learning how to do, flips and
backflips.
Backflips and somersaults and front rolls and back rolls and 3 high, standing stuff and lots of stuff like that. It was really good, and it changed my body shape because it was the first time I'd ever actually done any strength work, if you know what I mean. It was the first time I was actually having to
probably the first time you ever had shoulders.
And suddenly I had shoulders and arm muscles, and I couldn't do
triceps,
and I couldn't do the tricks where I'd do this weird twisty behind the back Mills mess stuff, and I just couldn't do that anymore. And I was like, oh, that flexibility went as my shoulders tightened up, because it was the first time I was doing not weightlifting or anything, but lifting other people and using my own body strength to lift myself.
It's kind of weightlifting.
Yes. No, I'm not saying weightlifting. I'm just saying functional body stuff.
I understand. Yes.
And then over the years that came and went, and my body type changed again when I was 34. I was always really skinny, and suddenly you turn 34 and then you're not really skinny anymore. And then you have to look out for weight. And then I'm not sure if I talked about this that much on the podcast, but a few years ago I weighed myself and I was 90 kilograms, and I was I'm not 90 kilograms, I'm 80 kilograms. And so I did a 6 weeks food changing thing and lost, I think, 9 kilograms in 6 weeks or whatever it was.
It was pretty extreme.
Yeah. And no, I don't think it was extreme. It was just you set yourself a goal, and if you work towards it, it's possible to do it. It's just one of those things. I got my
reduce the sugar, reduce the carbs.
That was all it was. It was stop eating bread all the time and stop eating sugar all the time, and replace it with protein and beans or whatever. So that was all good. But then a year ago, I decided to start working on more general fitness, not just weight and not strength, but like cardio fitness, of making sure, because again, it was one of those things where you start doing your show, and I'm doing my 50-minute show twice in one night. Yeah. And I was well, I need to get to the point where this is the easiest thing of my week, rather than the thing that I'm having to struggle through and then take 2 days to recover from. Yes. And you can do that just by juggling a lot, but the actual fitness-wise of doing juggling stuff is you kind of, for the 45 minutes, then let's say in 45 minutes in between, and then another 45 minutes, that takes endurance. Yeah, it does.
It's like an endurance
and I would always use a fitness tracking on my watch, because I've got an Apple Watch, and it's always easy to have a continuous timer running, which doesn't turn off, is if you set it as a fitness schedule. You use a fitness program. So I always use for juggling play. Yeah. For combat, I use martial arts, and for juggling, I use play. So I set that running as I walk out on stage. Yeah. Go, and then it's always got the timer running. It never goes away. Yeah. Fitness tracking is the only thing that always stays on the watch. So it's really handy for me to use that as a timer on my wrist to know how long I've got to go in my show. Yeah. Because stuff changes around, with audience volunteers, or how long it takes, how many attempts it takes me to get a trick. Or how long I talk, or what the comedy is like. So that's always handy. So I always had how difficult it was and how much energy I was spending on my show. And I just wanted to, track that and also improve it. Yeah. And also, as I've got more into mountain biking and things, I wanted to be able to go out for a bike ride and then the next day go for another bike ride, continuing on with the bike ride. Yes. And then the next day do it again and not be destroyed by the first day out on the bike. Yeah. And this happened to me a few times because, I don't know, a few years ago, I think we were in Slovenia or something, and we went on this big bike ride, and you've got your e-bike, but also you don't have the same energy levels as me anyway. And then I'm keeping up with you on the e-bike, and that's good for one day. And then the next 2 days of the holiday, wiped out. Or not maybe wiped out, but then they're rest days. And I'm oh, here. And I was expecting to go for a bike ride here, or do a train ride there, or whatever it's going to be. Yeah. It's good. I just hit the space bar. If that was on the recording, it would have stopped the recording. But that's why I always click away from the recording. So didn't good. And then that last year, I was no, I want to get my fitness level so I can just go away on a bike adventure and just ride my bike 3 days in a row, and it'd be fine. Yeah. And so I worked on that last year. mostly in that kind of way. And then this year I wanted to bump it up, so just to become more consistent. So, last year I would do this thing and I'd be like really active for a long time, like for 3 or 4 days in a row. And then I would go on a cruise and that would all fall away and I'd be walking around and doing some other juggling stuff and it would all drop away again and then get back to it and my weight was going
up. It goes up and down.
Yeah, it was really up and down and my weight last year was dropped down to, 74.2 or something, of 74.5. So I accidentally, without meaning to, I just lost another 5 kilogram of weight. And now the start of this year, the similar kind of thing has happened as I'm like, right, let me get back into like properly worrying about like how much zone 2 and a cardio stuff I'm doing. And immediately, as soon as I focused on that again, after being away for 5 weeks on a cruise ship, I'm not eating, cruise ship food for 5 weeks and having my, activity levels all going up and down. Suddenly I'm like, oh shit, I'm dropping like below my weight. And this is me eating as much food as I can, like really getting it down me, like, but still trying to eat healthily. But also, I just can't. It's just
the
just
calorie
a bit of a
deficit is there.
Yeah, if you just go for a 10k run and then the next day a 40-kilometer bike ride and then the next day juggling and then the next day another juggling thing and then the next day another 20 or 30 kilometers on a bike and then the next day a 5k run and the next day juggling, you're like, that is a lot of calories, and at the moment that's what I'm struggling with. So at the moment I'm enjoying my new fitnessy kind of trying to keep the fitness stuff consistent. I've got a cruise next week. Let's see how that keeps going, ticking over. But I know that when I get on stage, and I know this from, what I was doing last year, my show, I'm no longer like cramping up 2/3 of the way through my second show.
Sweating like, oh, can I last through the second?
Still sweating.
No, I mean, not in sweating.
I know what you mean.
But like, am I able to last the trick?
So that's the thing. I've had to decide to treat my juggling as though I am a professional athlete.
Yes.
Because every professional athlete, they're all retiring when they're 30. Like when you get to 38 years old, you're an old professional athlete. And I'm going to be 46 this year. I'm 45 now. I'm going to be 46 this year. Yeah. So hydration, looking a lot more at that. Electrolytes in my drinks. Instead of just drinking water all the time, like properly keep myself hydrated before I'm going on stage, during all juggling sessions, during biking and running. Although I don't really run enough to have to worry about hydration halfway through a run. But when I get back, I'm like, no, let's
gulp it down.
Replenish the salt and magnesium and other stuff that I'm going to have sweated out on this run.
Yes.
That I did.
And so before you go on stage, have a banana because bananas push away the cramps.
I never needed to worry about, but looking back now, I realize, if I had have just done better with my nutrition, I wouldn't have been this I would have had the energy to push through. So just reading up on nutrition. So I'm not saying that I'm like, I'm the fittest now than I ever have been, but I'm pretty fit now.
Yeah.
And again, if I'm like having to buy extra chocolate muffins just to treat myself, to get myself more sugar and stuff, just so I don't continuously lose more weight than I want to.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
Yes.
Because it means I get to eat chocolate muffins and feel fit.
Yes.
So that's it. No, I've not drunk alcohol for like a year or something, except for, one or two bits and pieces, a glass of wine here or there.
But it's so I have like drunk one glass of
we've just mostly cut alcohol out from again. It's not like I'm giving up alcohol.
No,
I mean that's not even a thing that I considered. It's just sort of like as I've done this more, drinking alcohol has kind of like fallen away. So it's just that kind of thing. Healthier eating, cutting out alcohol, increasing cardio exercise load, and also it definitely gives me more energy to work on juggling stuff as well.
Cool.
And combat and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
It was really funny as well, like at the end of year championships, like I realized that there's the young guys who are really fit. This is what I wanted to get onto in a bit as well. So all that's good, but like when I was there, I think it was Killian or something. He looked at his, fitness tracker, and he was sort of like, "Oh, my heart rate's really high," because we were like having a proper thing,
big go.
And I looked at my watch, and I didn't want to tell him that my heart rate was 20 or 30 beats per minute higher than his, and I knew that I could keep that going for like I could have kept that going at that intensity for another 10 to 15 minutes before it would have affected me, because that's what I do in my show. The energy that I'm putting into that especially when I do my club juggling routine, my ring juggling routine, and some other bits and pieces, there is a lot of energy that goes into it. So that's a lot of fun to know that playing combat against people who are younger than me. So I've got a few more points to make, but first I'm going to take a drink of water.
Okay. Do I keep this going? Do I entertain the people by saying
no?
I was just saying.
I just mentioned about hydration is important. And so
hydration is important.
So, other things, equipment, new juggling equipment. One thing that I noticed last year was I was working on these lightweight clubs, specifically for numbers juggling, because I'm like, right, I'm going to do 8 of these clubs. I want to make them as light as possible. I trained with Killian's club. He's come up 2 sentences in a row, or 2 anecdotes in a row. Trained with his clubs to do 7 clubs and was making progress with that.
Yeah.
And so that was fun. And then I was like, but this is just for numbers juggling. It's just for training. Now I'm going to get ready for my gig. And I picked up my normal performing clubs. So the clubs that I was doing the numbers juggling with were 170 grams-ish with thin handles.
Yeah.
And then I picked up the clubs to perform with, and they were 225 grams each with chunkier handles. Ooh. And I immediately was like, no way. Oh, I remember. I talked about this on the Flash 30 debrief like a few months ago. And this is one of the things that I did. And it's sort of like, oh, I'm never going to juggle heavy clubs again. I'm only ever going to juggle carbon fiber clubs with handles, and it just means I can take more of them with me. So that was one of the good outcomes of that. But then I'm thinking, what else do I need to do this with? Ball juggling. Can I do my 5-ball routine with the audience volunteer? Again, they're not too heavy for me now, but in the future, do I need to use different balls that are easier to juggle? Maybe that have some that the I don't know. Maybe slightly smaller. They don't need to be the 10 centimeter balls. Maybe I could do 9 centimeter balls and it just makes everything a bit easier. And I can still call them, because I used to do that routine with 15 centimeter balls.
They're even bigger than.
Well, there were these tennis balls that I used.
Oh, right,
and
yes.
That was one of those things where someone had to throw them to me, and the only way I could start, well, not the only way, but one of the ways I could start with is between my legs. Otherwise, unlike the stage balls, it's just actually too difficult to just start by yourself. So I would need that. And also, I've performed it with the basketballs. You know, when my props didn't arrive, or my bag didn't arrive, and I just went and bought 5 mini basketballs, and now I use those basketballs in the Brun finale. Yeah. So it's just that kind of thing. Like, what props do I need to maybe make lightweight versions of? And also, what numbers can I restrict? And I even mentioned last year when I was like, because I was working on 10 rings and 8 rings and 11 rings, and it was all synchronous. And then I got to the part in my show where I was like, and now 7 ring juggling, and it has to be in a cascade for it to make sense. And I was like, oh no, I'm just not going to do it. You know, the stage is too narrow, and I kind of like had trained my brain in the wrong direction.
Yeah. So you did 6?
So I did 6, and now that's it, because I realized, I'm going to put the 7 rings elsewhere if I need it. If I want to do it, I can do it elsewhere. And the gag where I put 1 ring in my mouth and do that, I now do that with the 4 knives, and it's just funny. It's just better elsewhere in the show. So that's the kind of thinking. I'm definitely going to keep doing 6 rings, because 6 rings is like really easy and really solid at the end of my show.
Prop adjustments.
Yeah. Will I do like Francis Brun did at the end of his career and not do 10 versions of the Brun finish? Maybe I'll drop it down to 9, maybe 8. Like the earliest versions that people would do with that, you know, didn't do the same thing. Or maybe I'll do 1 around my leg and like 1 hoop around my arm, or whatever. Yeah. There's different ways I could do this.
And the audience won't
notice
and don't know. They don't have context. So...
Yeah, because when I show him, it's the pose that Francis Brun does where he's holding all the props rather than juggling them all, because I want to be the one to reveal what it looks like when they're all being juggled.
Yeah.
And so maybe 2 rings in my left hand rather than 3.
Yeah.
Although the timing of that is always annoying. But and also the ball spinning fingertip that I use as well has made that so good. I'm not sure if I mentioned that or if I've talked about that.
Yeah,
but
I think
that's has been a really, really good thing to make just the starting of that the starting of the ball spin way more consistent, and it's so much more fun to perform now.
So you're kind of working on on different levels, and this fingertip thing really reminds me of some YouTube videos we recently watched where some people literally have stated, look, I'm getting older, I'm having family, so I'm not going to do stupid and dangerous things anymore, or not so many. And this kind of reminds me of that, because it's kind of like you need to start avoiding injuries.
Yeah.
And that is very important, because the older you get, that's just a fact, the older one gets, the longer it takes the body to recover from injuries. And you might have noticed with fingers and bashing fingers and whatever.
I've got a pretty bad history of what's it called? When your joints give arthritis. Arthritis. Yes, my grandparents all had really bad arthritis, and it's in my family as well.
Interesting.
So again, something I need to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe
so
stop
avoid
cracking my.
Yeah, avoid injuries where possible, and if you can avoid grinding down fingernails, it's more just like how much tension and it takes. That. So that's all good. I mean, the upshot of that is that the spinning fingertip I thought would make it so I could do the trick longer, and it turns out it just makes the start more consistent, and then of course when it's more consistent I can do it longer, but I thought it was going to be to make the trick last longer, and it just means actually no, it just makes starting it more consistent, not easier. And that's one of those weird things. People, oh, you're cheating then. I was like, well, there's no rules about it. And also, it's not cheating, because I can still do the trick. It just, instead of doing like it taking maybe 2 attempts to get the ball spinning on my finger, in a way which I know will be good enough to get the 6 catches over there, it means it always just goes correct on the first try rather than on the second or third try. Especially because the trick isn't just about spinning a ball on your finger.
Yeah.
And if you have a trick where it's about all the different things, and you stand on stage flicking the ball up on your finger 5 times, it really takes away everything from the trick.
Yeah, it's about the speed of how you get into it and then how you finish it off as well. So everything that I've talked about so far has been about me and my own, I wouldn't say competing against myself, but my own standards that I want to hold myself to. Like, what am I going to be doing in 10 years' time? All that kind of stuff. But to finish off, I want to go back to combat and other competitions. And also like the friendly rivalries and that kind of thing. Yeah. Where the original, let's just talk about combat to start with. The original generation of people who were entering fight nights early on and winning them. Yeah. We're all now not the best combat players anymore.
No.
I haven't been the best combat player since, well, again, I won the EJC
2018.
in 2018. Since then, I've won, I think, a British convention, maybe. I don't know. I guess I might have done. I won one more Berlin convention fight night. I won 2019 NJF. That was the last time I beat Baz. I can't beat Killian anymore, and all these other people who are like of that next generation down. Jasper. Jasper.
Marcus.
The people who can beat me. Well, the thing is, weirdly enough, Marcus was one of these. He was just young at the time because he was around in Berlin. So weirdly, Marcus is still managing to hold up. But Jochen, Flo, other people who were the good players back then, the next layer down. I guess Wes Peden could still maybe do well, but even then he doesn't win the fight. Like, he won that one EJC in 2019
epically,
and since then hasn't got anywhere. He had that one hot streak as well, and everyone else in sort of like, now Jochen isn't winning like he did like 3 years ago or 2 years ago, whenever it was. No, it was in Madrid he won, wasn't it?
I don't have all of
and
that in my
since then,
head.
he hasn't beaten Baz or Jasper, and I think Killian beat him this time as well. Yeah. So he's still good enough to win at a convention. But I'm just saying, at the very top level, the new guys are coming up. Yeah. And I'm still thinking that I can do well against them. But here's the thing. First, I need to have the skills and the energy. I have the energy. I have the skills. I don't think I've still got the motivation to keep going up against these young guys at that level. And I found it very easy to be like, oh, I'm just organizing the EJC this year. Like, I find it very easy to just step back. And then when I really try really hard to do it, I just mess up a few times in the qualifications.
You can get up to 5th or 4th.
Yeah. I'm definitely a top 8 player. Yeah. But I used to be consistently the second through to 4th best player.
Yeah, including then organizing at the same time.
And also having the energy to do the organizing, and I would consistently be there at the sharp end, or winning, definitely for many years in the final. But it's like this new generation who started juggling while me and Jochen were already like on our 5th or 6th EJC Fight Night final, and now they're better than the both of us, you know, or whoever it is, you know.
And that's totally... That's normal. That's the way it goes.
But that's the thing. Like, how long can I keep pretending to myself that I have a chance to beat these guys?
Like, are you the Federer or the Djokovic?
Meaning what?
Like
Djokovic is still playing, and he's still got to the final of the Australian Open this year. It's insane how good he is.
It is insane.
Serena Williams back on the doping program, so she might be back soon. I'm thinking mixed doubles or doubles at the US
Open. I'm always a fan of a person that retires on a high, on the like, look at this person.
Yeah. We can't all be Ash Barty or Nico Rosberg or whoever the people are who...
We don't want a Pavarotti.
What?
We don't want to be Pavarotti.
Oh, who just never seen again.
No, he kept... Like, there's certain singers or people go on stage way beyond when they should be, and then at some point it just becomes
but Andrea Bocelli is still doing that on the Olympics.
Amazing. He's still there. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I don't want to compare myself to other old people who just sing. I mean, I'm not saying just sing, but like I'm saying, it's not like this is apart from me being a performer.
No, I understand.
Also, the other thing is talking about friendly rivalries is the numbers juggling and the numbers juggling league. And last year I was like, I came second behind Ivan because again, not many people did all of the props, and I was nowhere near the top in any of the props.
Yeah.
And I was like, this year, Ivan. And then on the first day, I'm like, I did the 10 rings and I did the 7 clubs and the 8 clubs and the 6 clubs and the 9 rings and the 8 rings or whatever it was.
And one day
later, Ivan's like, I got 9 clubs. And I'm like, whatever. So here's the thing. I know that this is not sustainable for me to think that I'm a rival of anyone when it comes to numbers juggling. Because all these guys are putting in way more time, have way more time to put into it.
Yeah.
And more energy and more skill and
motivation.
And more motivation.
Yeah.
Although I've still got the motivation. But I thought, hey, I was getting pretty close to 9 clubs. I caught, I think, 7 out of 9 clubs with a 9 club flash. I'm like, this is good. This is close. And I'd worked on it for quite a lot of time over this time that I was away for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I took 9 clubs with me. I'd worked out the Velcro thing to do the launching. I'd done all of this stuff, was videoing it. I wasn't sharing any of this, some bits and pieces, because it was after, this was extra to the Flash 30. So I wasn't documenting it in the same way.
Yeah.
But I was working on this kind of stuff and I was like, all right, all I need to do is get home. I'm going to use the other clubs and I'm going to be in a place where we've got a high ceiling and I'm going to be ready to go, and I'll get the 9 club flash quickly because it feels close. And I got home and the first training session wasn't very good, and then the next 9 club training session that I did was okay-ish, and then the next one was worse, and then the next one was worse, and then the next one was worse, and then I'm like, maybe I'll try 8 clubs again, and I did that, and then the next one was worse, and it went off, and I was like, what I was doing when I was away for 5 weeks on these cruises, I was performing my show, but then there was lots of sea days, and every day I would go to the theatre because my cabin was like, you can be in the theatre juggling and doing a training session, and I would always look at the performance schedule, the theatre schedules, and I could get there and start a training session, and I would do some ring juggling, and I would do the club juggling. No ball juggling because my hand was injured.
Yeah.
But for this 5 weeks, I was doing a lot of juggling, daily training, like an hour of 9 club training and club numbers training and building up, launching 5 clubs from one hand or 4 clubs with the other hand and catching 5 clubs with one hand for like in a week, many, many hours of that.
Yes.
And then I get home to Berlin, or I get home, and I go into Berlin to do a training session, and I'm chatting with people, and I'm hanging out with people, and I do some club juggling, for an hour, and then I come home, and then 5 days later I go for another training session.
You can't compare that.
Well, like 2 days later I go to a training session, but it's here in Wildau and the ceiling's
Lower
low
ceiling,
or whatever.
yeah.
And then I go to another one and it's in the catacomb, and there's only one place you can do numbers juggling because otherwise the ceiling is too low. So I put in an hour's worth of like into 11 rings, and then I'm a bit tired because I'm doing some other stuff, and then I do that, and then I go to Sunday juggling and do that, but there's people doing Diablo and there's other stuff going and I don't want to take it. And in the end, and then I do start working on these triangles, and I work on some other bits and pieces.
So
and
way less concentrated.
I just don't have.
Yeah.
Again, it's one of those things. It's like, and I realized that my numbers juggling, I either needed to focus on it completely, like on numbers juggling, like I did at the start of the Flash 30 project. It was like, I'm going to keep going to Catapult and keep going into this room and like locking myself into this room and just work on it, 8
Drill it.
clubs and 10 rings.
Yeah.
And I could do that because 8 clubs doesn't need a high ceiling. 10 rings doesn't really need a high ceiling. And over time, I got it so I could do it under like 10 rings under a really low ceiling.
Yeah.
And 8 clubs I could do in a tight triples pattern, but I can't do that with 9 clubs, and I can't do that with 11 rings. When I did 11 rings last year, I put in over the course of like 3 weeks, or it was like 3 cruises back to back.
Yeah.
In some theaters with some good height to the theaters and some time and
A carpet.
It was about 18 hours worth of attempting 11 rings before I got 11 rings for the first time.
Yeah.
18 hours
But
worth.
very, very condensed.
Into a 3 to 4 week period over 3 cruises.
Yeah.
And I get home, I'm not even juggling 18 hours. Like per week, I'm getting in around about 7 to 8 hours per week. So in 3 weeks time, that's okay. So in about 3 weeks, maybe I could do it, but it's all spread out, and I'm doing other stuff. Like I'm doing other juggling. Like if I do 2-3 hour juggling sessions per week, that would all be it. But there's just no way to have the energy to do 18 hours worth of numbers juggling of 11 rings attempts or 12 ring attempts or 9 clubs attempts.
Yeah.
That would be 100% of the juggling I do, but I can't just go to the theater for 45 minutes or an hour and try it out and then take a rest and go and sit in a hot tub because I don't have a theater to go to. I have to go all the way into Berlin or all the way to a training space to do that. So
you literally have a commute.
Yeah,
That just
I've got an
shows
hour-long
how much commute takes away from actually the work you do.
And so that's the thing. It's sort of like, if I want to keep up with numbers juggling, it has to be a work trip kind of thing. You know, it's something that I won't be able to do. Like, I have to admit to myself that unless it is the project that I'm going to sign up somewhere where there's a high enough ceiling for me to work on these numbers, and I'm just going to go every day and put in at least an hour every day into this, I'm not going to make progress. And when I do try it and I realize my progress has slacked off, like it did with this 9 club thing, that I was like, I'm really close. Like I've already caught the first 5. I've already caught 7 out of 9. I feel like I'm just ramping up to get into this. I'm no way going to keep up with Ivan or Kellen or Moritz and even be able to do it for the first time this year unless I take 9 clubbers with me on a cruise and just be like, my main thing that I'm going to do on this cruise is I'm going to get the 9 clubs.
Yes.
Because I can go to the theatre for an hour and a half every day for 7 days in a row and just put the time and effort in. Yeah. Again, not quite sure what this has got to do with me growing old, but it's that realization that if I want to get 12 rings and get 12 rings on video, 12 balls on video, and 9 clubs on video, I either have to take it seriously or not take it seriously. Like, I can't just be like messing around and it be a side project. Last year, at the beginning of last year, the Flash 30 was not a side project. It was like the main thing that I was working on. Yeah. And so that's one of those things that I do is as I get older and as I'm like looking out and going, well, when I'm now 45, when I'm 55 and I haven't got 12 rings yet, would it be worth me even working on it then? Maybe. Who knows? But now's the time if I want to get 12 rings that I need to work on that.
Yes.
You know, and...
the best time is always yesterday. No, was it?
The best time is 10 years ago or 20 years ago. The best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is now.
Yes.
here's the issue. The second best time for me isn't now.
No.
It's the next time that I know I've got a cruise coming up where I
It's long enough.
That it's long enough that I can take some numbers equipment and get it. Thankfully, with ball juggling, with the 12 balls, I know just all I need is some slightly better weather. But with club juggling and ring juggling, I know that I need a place that I can go to every day to work on that.
Yeah.
So either I need to find a place locally with a high enough ceiling where I can put the time in to train it. And that's the reason, like I was chatting before, I think with Bo about Kellen and his 9 club progress. And I was like, he's in the same room juggling every day. He's performing 7 clubs on stage. He's nailed the 8 clubs. And the reason why he's got insane progress with 9 clubs is because he's got the space to juggle and the motivation to juggle.
And it's obviously right there.
And it's right there. It's in his workplace.
Yes.
And now he's not working in Nuremberg anymore at Palazzo or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I really hope he can keep pushing through and keep finding a place to perform or a place to train where he's got the height to work on that.
Yeah.
Because I don't.
It's all about the circumstances. Yeah. Absolutely. And this is why you see as soon as somebody has found themselves a big sports hall, or in the case of Moritz, has a workshop.
Yeah, and Juliane.
That where
that's what I'm saying. That's what I would need. Yeah. I would need to find a place where when I'm in Wildau, it could be within a 5-minute bike ride of me that I could use a place like that. Maybe I do need to go to the atrium of that big building in the evenings at if I could ask for permission to use it.
Yeah.
Maybe that would be what I need to do, just to be able to work on 12 rings.
There are other options. I talk to you later about these.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, like, if I want to do 12 rings...
If you want to inquire, there are options, but it would have to be serious. Like, that would be like a serious decision to approach people about this. You know.
And I think that if I get my work schedule sorted out, like we know which conventions we're going to go to. Yeah. We know which holidays we're going to go. And if I get 2 more gigs, that's going to be it for the, then I'll have my schedule set between now and the end of the year, between now and December, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I could work on that and actually be like, all right, this month-long gap that I have between gigs is going to be the numbers juggling gap if I want it to be.
Yeah.
And I could dedicate my time to it. I could maybe just sign up for the... Yeah, I was going to say, but it's still a commute, and that's the thing. Yeah. I need to not have a commute.
Yeah, it would need to be close by.
So that's it. That's all the things I want to talk about is my show, and the things that I need to think about to be able to keep doing my show. What I need to change in my show as I get older, and also as I present older, like as my hair turns grey, what new character do I need to be on stage?
Yeah.
And then as a hobby juggler, how long do I keep thinking that I can keep up with the young guys? Which again, I've got no issue with trying to keep up with them. And I guess that's it also, this is what I want to finish with, is I see it. I feel a sense of pride that at the age I am, I'm still happy to keep doing 7 rings on stage, to keep doing 10 prop finales, to keep doing 6 clubs on stage, to keep doing 5 club back crosses on stage. Yeah. To do all of that stuff on stage. I'm very proud of myself that I can keep my skills up, that I'm interested enough in being a technically proficient juggler that I can keep doing this for a time. Yeah. And I'm not going to be a better juggler than Sergei Ignatov, but I would love to be able to keep performing on stage, like not longer than Sergei Ignatov, but I've already beat Anthony Gatto just by longevity. Yeah. I'm not going to even try and beat Chris Cremo. But like, if I can keep doing these like technical juggling until I'm like old enough that it's kind of impressive that. And this is a joke that I say in my show now. Like, I used to have world records for being the first person to do it, and now I have world records to be the oldest person to do it. Like, I'm now like, if I flash 12 balls again, I'm probably the oldest person who's ever flashed 12 balls if I do it this year. Yeah. If I flash 12 rings for the first time, I might not be the oldest person to flash 12 rings, but I might be the oldest person to do it for the first time. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if I do 9 clubs, I'm definitely the oldest person to ever flash 9 clubs, because every single other person who's done it is younger than me, and they've done it before me. You know what I mean? So if I and that's the kind of thing that I feel like I should be able to keep motivation up with, and because it's something I can be proud of.
Yeah.
And if I think I can be proud of it, it's something that can help with motivation.
Yeah, it's like a not a perpetuum mobile, but it causes the other one to keep going.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I'm a better juggler than other people, but if I can use it as a source of motivation to be that I was the fifth person ever to flash 12 balls. I'm never going to be the first person to do that. You know what I mean? Like
impossible.
Looking at that top 40 juggler, the video that I had of Ben Beaver from that year is me and him doing 19 balls for the first time.
Yeah.
And we were the two jugglers who got 17 objects between two jugglers. 17 ball passing between two people. We were the first people to ever get that on video. And 18 balls and 19 balls. And now Moritz and Julian are trying to get 17 clubs. And I was like, I remember when I was doing 17 balls.
Yes.
So there are these things that, again, with me and Ben and other things that I did do for the first time.
Yeah.
But now...
And that will always stand.
Those will always stand, but I only had a very few of those. And also, world's first don't come that easy.
No.
There's not that many world's first that I can get. But yeah, to at least feel proud of keeping up with some other people who are now better than me.
Yeah.
To be credibly the again, not the second best numbers juggler in the world, but like in the numbers juggling league, that I'm never going to beat Ivan.
Yeah.
Like he's always going to be better than me, but that I can be proud that like he has to put in the work to beat me. If you know what I mean? Like he has to actually try to beat me.
Yeah.
Again, he will do it easily. Like again, it's not that, but I'm just saying for those kind of like try and keep up with the young guns, at least in my head.
Yeah. Like that I wouldn't say that gives them so much motivation, but that gives you the motivation,
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I don't care. Again, this is not me trying to beat people at combat so they don't win the EJC and I do win the EJC.
No.
I mean, I was really proud to have match points against Jasper at the EJC this year.
It's pretty good.
And
I think the most important thing for your show, for your professional life there,
is the health.
Yeah, that of course goes always first. But what is most visible to an audience is if you are invested and you have fun with what you do.
Yeah.
That shows. It is like the highest thing of non-verbal communication that anybody in the audience that sits there can make out. Unless you are a really good actor.
Yeah.
It will show if you go on stage and do the thing because that is your job and you have to do it, and it's like it shows. So if you keep the fun and you enjoy yourself on stage, that is all you need, really, because the audience
they know that I'm into the juggling.
Will get that.
Oh, I forgot to mention as well. Okay. No. It's cool. I'm just saying the performance on stage. I just wanted to mention Victor Key. He's no longer doing quite as much contortionism and 7-ball juggling. He's got pendulums, so he's doing a pendulum act now. And I was like,
good.
Oh, that's clever.
Yes.
Like that surely takes less energy and stuff. So that's another thing that I just wanted to mention because I saw that.
There are ways of adjusting things to you and the stage and the point where you are in life. Absolutely. Yeah. That's cool.
So maybe I can
come up with some fun.
I'm not interested in but even magnet juggling, I can do stuff with that. So it's still big and fills the stage, but with slightly different stuff. Anyway, that's it. I think we've wrapped it all up.
Yes, it's a good topic. Interesting.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I've already got the in my head what the art, the podcast art is for this as well.
Cool.
I need to get that image in and manipulate it.
Work on it a bit.
Yeah, it needs a bit of work. Either way, I still got that. So that's it from us. Thank you to all our Patreon supporters.
Yes,
I hope you enjoyed this episode.
Much. I hope some people actually listen to this.
Yeah, well, I know that they do, but I'm just saying, I hope people appreciate it. I know these things are very much sort of like, what's Luke thinking about now? I mean, but that's what it always has been, and I know that I focus on my show and my juggling journey and things, but that is what this podcast is about.
Yeah, and I don't juggle, so it's all about you, of course.
So thank you very much. And the next video project, is probably going to be the me going over some of my favorite ball juggling acts. I've got videos of lots of ball juggling acts. I did one for like club juggling videos like a year ago or 2 years ago.
I'm sure people will appreciate that.
And also the big tricks. I want to do a new big tricks video.
When was the last one?
Like 3 years ago, I think.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's time for another one.
So just a quick preview. It's going to be like a lot of 7 club tricks.
Okay.
So in a way, I want to feature Max in his 7-ball site swap journey.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to.
You want to wait until?
I don't want to wait until he finishes it, but I definitely want to feature him and his crazy 7-ball, like, you know, some of his crazy stuff.
Yes.
But also it's going to be lots of 7 club tricks. We've had 7-up double pirouettes. We've had back crosses for 19 catches. We've had a DB 97531. We've had other stuff, but there's quite a few 7 club tricks that we've had now.
All right.
And we've had some 9 club tricks as well. So with like 8 clubs with a balance.
Yeah.
A whole 8 club trick video.
That is kind of feeling like this could be a good video for 2027. The
No, I want to do it soon.
20 big 7 club tricks.
Yeah. Either way, big tricks.
Yeah.
A few years ago, it was like, can people match what Anthony Gatto did 15 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
But now it's not. All of these guys are way beyond even what Anthony Gatto and Vova Galchenko were doing back in 2005 or 2005
but
to 2010.
But held up for a really long time.
Yeah. It held up for a long time. We've talked about this in the past. Either way, those are some upcoming video plans that I've got. And we're always looking for new podcast topics as well. I mean, I've always got loads of podcast topics to go through, but if other people have some as well, send them our way. Right, that's it from us. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll catch you next time.
Goodbye.